you?
I'm great. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I don't even have Monday-itis. We saw a film. You and I were just chatting about that.
It was a private
coming
screening, which is going to come out sort of fairly soon. And you know
July?
those. I think so. I think they had its first small soft premiere in Melbourne a little while ago, but it's by that director Damon Gatto. He did the Sugar film, and this one's Future Council.
He's rather easy on the eye too.
Oh, dear. I think you said that a few times, Diney.
No, he's just a really lovely guy. Nicola and I were very fortunate to have a chat with him last night. But look, honestly, we didn't truly know what to expect other than it was about trying to help to heal the world through children's eyes, because it's their future, not ours. And Nicola and I sat up the back and we were transfixed, weren't we?
It was incredible. They brought children from all different nationalities. I think they had 1,400 children applied, and they chose, I think it was 8 or something.
Yeah, it would have been difficult.
And you just fell in love with them. So we laughed, we cried. They got in the ears of CEOs around the world. We won't say too much more, but it was the most impactful, powerful movie. And Jimmy Barnes' granddaughter Ruby is one of the. And she's got a beautiful voice.
She sang through it. Yeah,
she sang. So that was a really good.
But it was a
night.
great message because and look again, not to divulge too much, other than we all know the message. But what I loved was they were on a yellow bus going around Europe, and they were going to see CEOs of various companies, and basically some were very gentle with their approach, some were full on, massive, heavy emotion about, saving our world to these CEOs. And I thought, you know what? This is healthy. And the CEO didn't take offence. They were cool and calm and explained it, didn't they, in detail? And
in
I went,
awe
this is
of
healthy.
Our future
I think it'll
children.
be huge. I really think this movie will be huge.
I do too.
Yeah, all over the world.
Yeah, I do. So it's always fun to see
what's
a movie.
In your world, Nicola?
Well, you know what? I'm now single.
Woo-hoo!
Happily single, because I know when we had David the Medium on the first one, we sort of had a bit of a summer romance there, which was kind of good. But mine was sort of short, sweet while it was there, and now it's ended. And so now I'm single and
yippee-yi-yo.
Yay.
And away she goes.
Happy to mingle.
Yeah, baby.
But so and it's lovely for you because you're dating a lovely man, which is nice.
I am dating a lovely
guy. It's your turn to be in a relationship. I've had one for quite a few years.
Yeah.
I was dating and you were single. I know. So I'm actually kind of
slapper.
Happy to be single again now, But who knows a bit about relationships and knows a lot about so many things.
I love how people sit opposites when we chat away, and they're just going, who are these two women?
I know.
And then we finally go, oh, there's a guest in the studio. Bingo.
And a guest also who I sort of first became aware of was through David the Medium as well, who we just love. Absolutely love it. And it was the Ace Hotel. But let me introduce, because we're super excited that we have Kelly McCloskey, the Feng Shui girl. So we are absolutely thrilled to have you at our back fence. Kelly is one of Australia's most respected Feng Shui experts, known for translating ancient wisdom into practical tools that help people create spaces supporting love, success and well-being. With a background in luxury real estate and over a decade of Feng Shui experience, she's helped thousands transform their homes and lives by shifting the energy around them, and that's what we're about, is energy.
We're very much energy,
and it's just I'm so excited about this.
Yeah.
So as I said, we first saw you speak at the Ace Hotel in Sydney, and that was just a wowzer event. I loved it. So it's no surprise she's blowing up everyone on Instagram. Her tips are smart, stylish, and they work. So
and look what she's wearing.
She's
the most
she's
beautiful
from
dress.
Melbourne.
We love you.
So woohoo! Welcome to the back fence, Kelly.
Thanks, Nicola. Thanks, Di. Thanks for having me.
For flying in.
Oh, I'm thrilled. A trip to Sydney is always a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah, I think a trip to Melbourne's good too. We love Melbourne, don't we?
Yeah.
Melbourne girl.
I'm a Melbourne girl.
Do you know there's some people listening right now, what the hell is Feng? I can't even say the bloody word.
You can't
Feng
get
Shui.
Feng Shui. Feng Shui.
I've got to do it with a whistle.
Is there a
Feng
Is there a correct way? Because I say it differently every time.
I think it depends on who you've studied with. So I always say Feng Shui.
Oh, Feng sounds better. I think Feng's easier.
You can't really get it wrong. So
hold on, Feng's good. Hold on.
Feng Shui, Feng Shui.
Well, I love what Kelly said. You can't get it wrong.
Oh, I love that. Hey, listen, I'm going to run through life with that.
That's right.
Sorry, I can't get it wrong. That's right. It's my new mantra.
But what is it?
So tell us what it is. Feng
Yes,
Shui.
well, Feng Shui has been around for thousands upon thousands of years, and it even dates back to the Tang Dynasty. And it's the Chinese started it, and originally started all about finding the best burial spot, because the Chinese believe where you are buried, if you're buried in an auspicious location, your children and offspring will all have a great life, and your next life will be fantastic. So the first book on Feng Shui was the Book of Burial. So it was all about finding the right spot. So we look at Feng Shui literally means wind and water. So ideally we want our house to be facing the water but backing up away from the wind, so backing onto a mountain or something, in the current, we're all backing onto mountains. Mind you guys here in Sydney have got some pretty good real estate.
I've got to say both of us.
Yeah, we do. My apartment is
Isn't that weird?
Does tick the
Sorry,
box for
we're
that.
totally digressing. Yeah.
No, so that's idea, and in the current, climate, it doesn't have to be a mountain. It can be just a taller property than what our house is, or the apartment building that's behind you. So just something taller in the back of the house is ideal.
And if it's not?
Well, then we look at it and say you'd probably feel like you're not supported in that home. It's like, think of it like a big cozy blanket. You feel supported when something's around you. So if your house is, say, the top of the hill and you're all there on your own, you're not feeling supported, you're not feeling secure. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that's one avenue. What else is Feng Shui?
Well, we look at, what's
in general.
Well, it's just how something feels. We all have that, our main shopping strip where we live, and there's always whatever goes into this particular shop, it doesn't work. It can be a hairdresser, it can be a fish and chip shop, it can be a barrister's. No matter what goes in there, it doesn't work.
I get it.
The energy's off, and fundamentally in Feng Shui we believe everything is made up of qi, of energy, vibrating at different frequencies. Some positive, some are challenging. And this isn't new. Like Einstein was all about this. Nikola Tesla was all about this. So it's not a new thing, but I'm trying to bring Feng Shui back to what it is, not trinkets. If I come to look at your house, I would never say, hey, put a row of gold coins, or put a kitty that waves its arm, or, this is all just, your house should look like a Chinese restaurant. And unfortunately, that's where Feng Shui has got a bit of a bad rep over the last 20, 30 years of, putting red ribbons around taps.
So it's energy.
It's energy, yeah.
So break that down. What does that mean for someone that doesn't understand
everyone's
that?
house is different. So you can have two houses, different floor plans, both facing the same direction. And it's not, my house faces north. No, it faces to the degree. It's 212 degrees, for example. So we look at the actual degree. We look at when the year the house was built. And then from there, it's a mathematical science. And it tells me exactly what's playing out. It's like an astrology chart for the house. So where is the challenging sectors? Ideally, we want them in the laundry or the formal dining room or the spare room where we don't spend a lot of time. But we want our wealth and our happy relationships in rooms like our bedroom, for example, for happy relationships. Wealth at the front door is great. Wealth in the living room is good. So everyone has these energies in their home.
Or not, because Nicola and I were just chatting the other day about some houses with energy, you can cut it with a knife. It's so heavy when you've not said anything to it. You don't even know who lives there even.
Feels funny.
Or you're visiting someone, whatever, and you feel it the minute. I mean, there's obviously some people in life that are more in tune. Nicola and I we work energetically.
We do.
We go through life feeling people's energy. But in a house, tell me about when you open the door and you go, oh, you feel that energy. What's that about?
Look, I think your house really is a representation of who you are. So you both, are high energy. You're not going to go and buy it. You're not going to go and buy it. You're not going to.
Did you ever know that? Did you ever realise that?
Listeners, you're going to laugh at this. Sam, our producer, just did a little box breathing with us before we started because we were a bit speedy Gonzales.
Because we've just come out of a meeting. So sorry, we love
you're both.
digressing.
You are not going to pick up the house with the shitty or the dense energy. You just wouldn't. And that's why you're saying, you can walk into a house and go, oh, this feels off.
Yeah.
But some people some people are just unlucky, if you like. They make bad choices. They date the wrong people. They just constantly pick the wrong careers, whatever it may be. They will be attracted to that house with the shitty energy because that's who they are.
That's interesting.
So I always say to people, please, before you buy this house, call me because we'll stop you from buying this house. 2 weeks ago, I had two clients. One was looking at one property. I said, yes, this is great, buy it. The other one, I said, this house has run out of its luck with its money, avoid it. This is arguments, conflicts, jealousy, all this, and she said,
just with the energy in the
I could
house.
see where everything was. And she said, oh, that's amazing, because the agent told me the woman has to sell because she's run out of money and she's having issues with the body corporate and she's on the nose within the group. They want her out. So she's, this arguments, conflict energy.
But how easy is it to change that energy? Like, for example, if you tell me that, then I say to Nicola, I'm going to buy it because I love it. And I walk in. How is it possible to turn that energy around?
So interestingly, my husband and I bought a house when I was 8.5 months pregnant with our second child, which I don't recommend anyone does. But I knew I was having another boy, and we had a small house in Albert Park, and I said, we can't have two boys in this house. We are. So we ended up ducking up the road to St Kilda and buying a house on 900 square metres, and I didn't do the chart because I was incredibly unwell being pregnant, and I thought, you know what, it's fine. It needs to be renovated. I'll make it work. And anyway, we moved in, I did the chart, and we have bankruptcy at our front door. So every time I walk through, anyone walks through the door, it's activating this bankruptcy issues. Oh, wow. So we avoid using the front door. Like, if you come to visit, I'll obviously meet you at the front door, but the kids,
I climb through the window, Kelly.
Comes through the back door.
That's a really smart way of dealing with things, and for people listening as well too. If you've got certainly things like that, you just make it work.
You have to make it work.
So that's kind of a positive spin on it.
Because the perfect house, like the perfect person, doesn't exist.
Yeah. So how did you get around it?
Yeah,
perfect house, the perfect person.
It doesn't exist. So everyone has challenges in
my
life.
house. If you know me, no.
Diet is perfect.
And I'm so young. So this is how did you get around that? Being aware. Okay, I know it was the door.
Yes.
Was the rest of the house have that?
Well, it depends.
Sort of
It depends. Everyone's got it. You've got it. Everyone's got it somewhere in their house. Ideally, if we were going to build a house, ideally I'd love it to be in the laundry or the formal dining room, somewhere you don't spend a lot of time. You don't want it at a front door or in the main living area.
So hold on, what does everyone have in the house? Bankruptcy.
Yeah, like everyone's got these issues.
Everyone's got these names. Explain that to people going, we've got I'm guessing what you're saying is we've got all, it's like what we make up in a person, you've got all these different sort of qualities that make you up. So we've got all that. Yeah. So I'm guessing it's the same sort of thing. Yes. So in the house, so can you explain that a bit more? Like,
sure. There's 9 different sectors. Yeah. Right. Some are challenging, some are positive.
Right.
So one is academic success, arguments and conflict, theft of not just your property, of your intellectual ideas. So if someone has got that in their main living area and they come up with all these great ideas, and next thing they're telling their boss, and their boss comes up with the great idea, well, it was their great idea in the meeting. This sort of thing keeps happening. Everyone else is getting promoted around them. They're not, because everyone's pinching their ideas. So it can be...
What are the others? It's just fascinating. Like it really is.
Sex scandal.
Wow.
Sex scandal.
Lawsuits, litigation. Yeah.
You're saying every house has this?
Everyone has it.
I'm so confused.
But in saying that, though...
not because of you, just about Feng Shui.
So,
I'm trying to get a handle around this.
So we do believe there's 3 lucks we look at. So the first one is your earth luck, which is your astrology, your own personal astrology. I don't know if you've ever had your astrology chart.
This is what we're into.
So that relates to 33.3%. The other is your man luck. Are you a good person? Do you let the person trying to get in traffic in front of you? Do you do good deeds? What is your karma like? Yeah. That's another 33%. Right.
Karma's a good thing, isn't it? It's funny you come back.
Karma can be a bitch too.
Karma can be, exactly.
But no, I love that.
And then the last one is your luck, as in your Feng Shui. So it represents 33.3%. So, for example, your Feng Shui could be off, but your astrology, you could be in a good luck cycle. So you can ride through it. However, if your Feng Shui is off and your astrology is off and you're being a bit of an ass, well, that's when things go amiss.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's like the balance.
It's complex. It's not as simple as I thought.
No, it's not complex. And I get all these, I love to help people.
Complex as in my brain now is digesting all of this to try and absorb it all because I'm still trying to get my Capricorn brain, my Earth brain, all these components are in most houses. It's just what one surfaces in what areas.
That's correct.
And
yes.
It's fascinating.
And unfortunately for Feng Shui, there is a number of practitioners out there, which I'm not sure if they're accredited. I think if you ever would like to employ a Feng Shui practitioner, make sure they're accredited. Have a look on the International Feng Shui Association website and get the right one. Because there's a number out there that, I see them on Instagram and they're just spruiking like the red ribbon and your southeast sector is currently your wealth, which is not correct. All these sort of things. So, people would love that it's a one size fits all for every house, and that's not the case.
I guess it's like personality is a bit like Dave because, we're all energy. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but the way, there is, it's like, you've got so many different sides to you and different areas there that, you've got the soft side, you've got your boundary side, you've got, your party side, your emotional side, your intellectual side.
Yes.
And so it's a bit like, I'm guessing, sort of like with Feng Shui.
Yeah. Does that resonate, what Nicola was saying?
It's a little bit like
okay.
that. So,
Thank you.
And
That's
also,
why I've got a girlfriend like this.
And also, to add to it, just sort of to help sort of explain for our listeners as well too, is that correct? It's sort of like a 20-year cycle?
It does. So there's a couple of different formulas. So Flying Stars, which is the classical Feng Shui, changes every 20 years. So it changed as of last year. So if you look at your chart, we're right now for another 20 years. We actually look at it for another I look at it from 2044 onwards as well. So we make sure that this is what the house is for this next 20-year period for yourself. And then we can also look at your astrology and see whether you're in luck or you're not.
It's so fascinating because we had Jordana Levine on, who's an astrologist.
Yes.
And she's fantastic.
She was
her.
She was the one that told me I was going to meet a Leo, and I went, no way.
Have you?
She did, and she met a Leo.
I did.
Oh, Leo's a fun.
I went, no, I don't. A Leo won't suit me. She went, and she was really firm. She went, yes, he will.
Has he got good hair?
Yes, yeah.
Oh my God, he's got so much hair.
Yeah, Leo's.
It's Leo,
That's
the lion.
amazing. I pat it all the time. Anyway, enough of that.
They've got a mane.
And then he purrs.
That's lovely.
This will have to be R-rated. Now, moving on, because I'm fascinated.
But
I've always been fascinated by
this.
this.
And also, just interject, it's sort of kind of, I'm thrilled to be here with Kelly and Di because they're both real estate moguls. Because you are, and so's Di.
That's
and
so
for our
sweet.
listeners here, and I just find that really fascinating that your background is in, especially luxury real estate. I guess it's all real estate. But I think that's fascinating because you know houses more than nearly anyone, and I think you've matched your match with Di because she's been in the industry.
Sold. I just would have fun with the staff. I was great with staff.
It's been a business for 30 plus years.
And made it enjoyable with all of our employees. And also I started the holiday rental side of it. But having said that, they go hand in hand, don't they? Feng Shui and real estate.
I'm a big property perv. I say I love it.
Yeah.
So at the age of 18, I'd lived in 18 houses, and my parents.
Why? What's that
my
about?
dad was a policeman, and they were.
On the run?
No, that's right. Not when he wasn't. Unfortunately, one of the crooked ones. He's very straight
said on the run.
That too.
But I suppose he and Mum worked out they could build a house every year with all the holidays and then sell it. And so, back in the 80s, they were property developers before it became a thing to be a property developer. So and then when I finished high school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I got in to become a pilot and got talked out of that by my mother and grandfather. Which probably worked out well. I'm not really. I think it sounds much sexier than...
That was that era where you should be a nurse or a secretary.
Yeah, something. Yeah,
you know
probably.
What I mean?
I know.
So then I thought, I'm going to become a real estate agent. But back then there was no one. There wasn't. This is 97 when I finished year 12.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Female pilots back then too. I flew with the airlines, for 30-something years. And it was interesting just to see as the years went on, then the women started to finally come in as pilots.
Yes.
But for the first, starting in the 80s, and I just didn't see female. It's like nearly female driver. Female
that's right.
pilots,
Yes, true.
But
so Nick and I, we really want to bring this to the fore. David the medium, who a lot of our listeners know about, and he's a mate of yours.
He is, yes.
One night we were doing one of his manifesting nights, and one of the first things he said, and I'm wondering if it was you. He was talking to a woman about moving. Someone who will be listening tonight will have pictures of single women on the walls. Was that you?
No, he'd been to my workshop, and I told him. I told him this. I said, that's the same thing about the mirrors in the hotel rooms. The mirrors. Yeah. So I always
I just want to tell you the story. What happened?
Okay, sorry.
Well, no, don't apologise. This is the most amazing story. My whole life changed because of
true.
you.
Oh,
so guys, so what you're listening to with Kelly, there's more to her than meets the eye. So I heard David say this, and it was
back
Kelly.
her up.
Yeah, Nicola's this is the truth serum here. So I heard a woman has a lot of pictures of single women on her walls. Now I went to Tahiti. And aren't they beautiful? The most magnificent, beautiful women with, frangipanis, whatever, they're divine. And I'd met them at an opening, you were there, an art gallery opening in Tahiti, in Papiti. We went to the opening, and I talked to some of these women that were the muses for the artist, and they talked about their divorces. So I knew that the women in these paintings were all single. And so Dave said that, and I've gone.
But Dave also said too, he was also saying, if you want to attract love into your life or relationships, he said, if you have pictures of like single, say of women in the nude by themselves, or artwork, there's just say there's not a couple like lovebirds, there's just one, but artwork on the wall. So that was like he was speaking to thousands of people on the Zoom thing, but it was like it spoke straight to Di. Now I heard it, but I didn't think anything of it. I listened to it.
I had goosebumps from my head to my toe.
He says, so guys, jump on and grab his 22 minutes of manifestation. They are fantastic because you can't always get to see him personally. After we did that session, I get a message from Di going, ring me immediately.
Yeah, that's it.
Now!
And Di, I'm not kidding, she goes, that was me. It was like you're speaking directly to me. So she then that night took them down because she was ready then after the thing to meet somebody.
I took every single painting down.
And I think I might have just met someone.
And that's why this is so relative to you. Yeah. And I met this guy,
about 2 weeks later. And she did that also, Stephanie Lefebvre, you drew the thing as well.
But
no, it's
energy. You want to talk energy?
You were even hanging towels with the Tahitian women were. Okay,
I was putting hooks, so that looks a bit bare. But so
so David came to my workshop.
So tell me about things like paintings on walls and houses and how they like. That's an example.
Yes, so I was lucky. I've worked with David on his. He's actually just moved, but on his previous place, and he came along to my workshop and he's like, yes, this makes sense, yes. And the mirrors in bedrooms are not a good idea either.
Tell me about that.
Well, they activate the energy. They increase the energy, and we want our bedrooms to be yin, a place where we go to rest, relax. So we don't want
tell us what the yin
TVs.
And the yang. Just
and also where could the mirror not be or should be?
Sure. So yin is the feminine energy. It's the moon. It's the place we go to rest and relax. Yang is the masculine, the bright, the sun, all of that sort of stuff. It's the go. So you ladies need some yin when it comes to bedtime.
Yes. Hey, I'm a double Aries.
Double Aries. There you go.
And I'm a Capricorn with an Aries rising.
It's all happening.
I'm speedy, but that's me.
So yes, we want mirrors. They are yang. They reflect the energy. They bounce it. We don't want them in bedrooms.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't
know
that.
Or else you can. I've got to say mine, but it's covered
it's hidden.
By the
you can't
door,
see it.
So
Yes, right. As long as you can't see it when you're in bed.
Yeah.
So if you've got it behind a door, it's
and
okay.
it's outside your bedroom too. So it's not actually in your bedroom.
It's in the bedroom, but it's just the doors. You can't see it.
Yeah,
because you've got one out in the balcony, haven't you?
It's
beautiful.
I'm happy with where I've got it, but
And for me,
the
big for bedrooms, the big one with artwork is everything I've ever hung behind my bed head, I have manifested.
Tell us some more.
So I've manifested. So believe it or not, I've been married twice. So my current husband is outside, but my first husband, we split up and I moved to Melbourne, and I had this painting of it. Sounds really bizarre, but it was like a girl. It was like a Madonna looking thing with the booby bra on the back of a giraffe, like swirling a boa constrictor around. And I had some of the best time of my life in that house with that. It was just like,
hold on,
we're
going back to being outrageous.
Sorry, you just got me going.
No, but it was just like
single.
I was young.
Calm down.
I didn't do anything too out, unfortunately, too out of there. But it was like heaps of fun. And then when I thought, okay, it's time to settle down and find someone, I had this beautiful painting by August Blackman, and I popped that behind. It was two faces behind my bed head. And I was selling real estate at the time for Marshall White in Albert Park, and this Irishman calls. And I thought, this guy sounds cute, have you got a house? And anyway, I ended up had listed the house beside my house for sale. So I said, come and have a look at this house.
Oh, here we go.
I
know. The one next to me.
No, that's right.
It's a Mel Wilson, isn't it? Sort of like next door neighbour.
So he turns up and I'm like, you're a bit of all right. And obviously he thought I was a bit of all right. So we ended up dating. So that worked out well.
Bingo.
And then 5 or 6 months into the relationship, I thought, and I was 36 at the time, I thought, this guy's a bit of all right. I better go and see Dr. Trudy and make sure I'm good to go. He could be the one. So I went and saw Dr. Trudy and did all
Who's Dr. Trudy?
She's my local doctor down in Middle Park. She was just
like a female,
just a doctor. I'd go and get the once over to make sure.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
If I was ready to have.
I'm in Feng Shui mode, right? Yeah.
But this is important about how good the house.
Yeah.
It's all right. Age is ticking away here. So Dr. Trudy called me back in for my results, and this is good. Hang on, this can't be right, Kelly. Let me ring pathology. And I'm like, what? Rings pathology. Okay, right. Yep. Hangs up. Now, there's an issue. I said, what is it, Dr. Trudy? She said, your egg count. It's 1.7%. Now, that was the egg count of someone that was 55 to 60 years old. Like, I had 0 eggs left.
Right.
Like, I was in big trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And she said, I'm going to refer you to a fertility gynecologist. So poor Tom, who I've been dating for 5 months at the time, I said, this is where we're at. And he said, okay, well, let's go and see this fertility gynecologist. And she was this lovely older lady. And she said, Tom, put the remote down and get on Kelly. Time is not on your side. Like, get into it.
I love this.
Yeah, I know.
There'd be no problems.
I know.
Tom's like, not a problem.
Dreams come true.
Tom's like, okay, I'll factor it into the diary.
That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, 2 months later, we fell pregnant with our first son.
You're kidding.
Oh,
No,
okay.
which is unheard of. Like,
So I'm still trying
yeah,
to
so
relate
if I
this to
look
the
at my
picture behind
astrology,
your bed.
that's right. So
Two faces.
it was he and I. But if I
Okay.
look at the feng shui of
Yep.
my bedroom, it was
Yep.
excellent for health and relationships. Now, if I had have been in, for example, a sex scandal or an arguments or conflicts or one of the ones which is bad, ill health, it wouldn't have happened. There's no way I would have got pregnant. I shouldn't have been able to get pregnant. But my house supported me in getting pregnant.
Wow. Now, can you, just for our listeners going, they're going, I don't know
Yeah, you don't
whether
know.
I've got a sex scandal bedroom or I've got a...
Well, if there's
Yeah.
Can you tell us just even a general thing to help our listeners out now who might be going, well, hang on, what sort of bedroom have I got?
I don't know. And it takes
like,
2 years
you
of
know.
study to work out,
But a general thing
Hold
for
on,
people.
what takes 2 years of study?
just to learn flying stars, which is where to find out where your wealth
Right.
sector is, all that sort of stuff.
So you have to call.
You have
call
to find
in
a good
the
accredited,
expert-
yes,
yeah.
feng shui
But are there
practitioner.
any sort of like,
Well, I think-
tips? Like obviously you said about the painting behind the
Your
wall
bed
of
is a
two
good one.
people.
Yes.
You know,
We've-
like so for die.
So what else should
couple of
people put
kids.
behind the
Well, it
the
depends
wall,
on
their,
what
their
I've-
bed head?
So if you want, I had a client who was going through IVF. She'd had a number of failed IVF treatments. She had 3 children and she wanted a 4th. So she literally stick-figured the family, blue-tacked it behind her bed, and then the IVF stuck.
Oh, I'm loving this.
yeah.
I don't want any more children at my age.
but think, what else do you want?
but I'm loving this
You're one of age.
concept.
Well, have a think about I
You
wanted a
can
house,
talk.
a beach house down at Lawn, so I
Yeah.
popped this little white beach house shacky photo.
Stop.
Guess what we bought?
You drew that and stuck that
No, I
behind-
didn't. I just sort of had an image of one that I liked. Like I went on to Etsy, printed one off I liked,
I'm
and stuck
loving it. Are
it.
you loving this, Sam?
But,
Sam.
what I just find for a listener.
Sammy the seal.
And,
I want
Sam,
a
you could-
hot-looking man behind your bed head. Picture of him.
But
I can see it.
David, the medium, and we keep on sort of saying it, but it's all connected that too. And and
Loving
he's obviously,
this.
it's great how we all sort of like learn from each other and that. And he was saying in one of his other manifestations too, maybe it was someone who he works with in Melbourne, a similar thing. And she actually then did the stick figures of 2 people, like a man
Yeah.
and a woman. She didn't have and
love
put it
how you
behind,
did that
behind
with your
her bed.
fingers.
And bingo, he was within a couple of weeks.
Were the stick figures on top of each other, or are they just walking next to each
However
other?
she wanted to roll.
Whatever floats your boat.
You know, exactly.
Love
You
that.
know.
How
I don't
cool
know.
is this? I'm loving this.
I know, so I think
Thanks.
for
And
all
it's
our listeners-
manifesting,
It
ultimately.
is, yeah.
Posters of Leonardo DiCaprio all over my bedroom walls as a 13-year-old, and I did not manifest.
Oh, maybe
Come on,
He probably
Kelly.
would have ended up in jail.
We
if
need
he
an
had.
age of consent, darling.
That's
age of
true,
consent.
that's true. Oh,
so
wow.
what about skeptics around this, around Feng Shui?
There's a lot of skeptics, and I understand why, because it's had a really bad rap in the last 20, 30 years. It's just, a lot of it's been crap, you know? Like the cat that the arm moves, which is going
Yes.
to bring me money. So you see them at the tip jar at the
Right.
Thai restaurant or the Chinese
Yes.
restaurant, because I get it. It's activating the energy.
I didn't even know that. I
Yeah,
just
so you
usually
look,
knock it
your
on
eye
the way
looks,
out.
and then you see the tip jar, and you're meant to then put money in it. You know, it's that sort of energy. So there is a little bit of feng shui to it, but it's a bit of a stretch.
Right.
So.
I usually knock it over.
Are there
when
any
I
key
in a
things,
restaurant.
say, I know it's a generalisation, Kelly, but just sort of like, for our listeners too,
Sure.
key things that we sort of should have in
Sure.
our house and shouldn't have. you
Yes.
know?
I think your
Exactly.
front yard is really important because
what was that?
your front yard,
Front yard.
should be really beautiful
Really?
because qi or energy, we can't get good feng shui if the energy doesn't want to go into your house. So you really have to have a better looking house than your neighbours. Because we all go for a walk on a Saturday morning with our dog, and there's always that one house you think, I'd love to see what's inside that house. That's a really nice looking house. That house is going to have all the qi. That's going to get all the good qi. That's going to have the best feng shui because it looks so beautiful.
This is great for real estate, actually.
It is, I
If you're
know.
going to go and sell your house,
100%.
get your
I know.
energy right in your house.
Yes, for
Get
sure.
The
I get
chi
called in
right.
quite often.
It's like Molly,
Fascinating.
the Oracle that we had as well.
Yes,
you probably
yeah.
know her
God,
too.
I love
It's
her.
all about energy, and,
is,
Yep.
and that's what I liked about with you, Kelly.
attraction.
It's all connected. Everything's connected. You know,
Yes.
it's amazing. You've
And
got
your
it all
house
in one.
is so important because it's our environment, and we spend more time at home than anywhere else.
We do.
So if your environment is off, you're out of flow. And everything's it's going to be like banging your head against a brick wall. Nothing will work.
So what do we need to do? So what's some
front
tips?
yard. So make sure your front yard
I
Okay,
don't
great.
have a front yard. I mean, I really
A little bit you
well,
do.
I'm on still like on I'm on poles.
You've got
The
a-
house.
you've got a-
So I have air
You've got a little
underneath.
fence. You've got a white picket fence. And
I
some
do,
flowers.
ours.
What
But
else
you've got a
have we
balcony? Have you got a balcony?
Yes.
Yeah, so look at the balcony as your front yard. So it sounds like you've got the energy coming from the water.
does.
Yes, you're
so
right.
therefore your balcony
So
needs to be look at it as your front yard.
Right.
Sam, how's
Thank
your
you for
balcony?
that. It's a huge one. It's
Palm
funny you
Beach.
say that.
It's pretty kick-ass.
No, but it's interesting you say that.
Kick-ass
Thank
global
you.
scale.
So same with apartments. If you live in an apartment, it's where the energy comes in. So it's, probably from where the balcony door is or where the biggest glass window is where the energy's
And
coming
what
in
else
from
is there?
apartments.
See in a house, is it if it's too
Well, don't have
messy
clutter.
or something?
Clutter is the
big.
biggest feng shui killer.
Interesting.
You cannot have good feng shui if you've got clutter.
Wow.
So that's a good tip.
Yeah,
I've got to
isn't it?
write that down because
Clutter.
I know someone
Well,
that has
it's kind of the thing, with your wardrobe.
Oh,
And
yeah.
when you clear clothes out, how
Yeah.
good do you feel
Feels so
afterwards?
good. You take it to the op shop and you're like, yep,
And then
great.
you come
you're
back
helping
and you go,
someone
else.
you don't
Yeah.
miss it. You go,
No.
it's so good. I find something new every time
Yeah,
I
it's
do a clear
exciting.
out.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
exciting.
What else is
So
good can we do?
declutter, what
Mirrors,
else?
if you've got mirrors in your home, make sure they're reflecting back something beautiful.
Okay,
Like
I've
a
got
view.
a big
Like
one.
a
I've got a
view.
massive one in the lounge room. The huge
Yes,
one.
yeah.
It reflects the view.
That's fine.
Okay.
And if, I see often people have got a mirror in a hallway reflecting back the white other side of the hallway. No, it should be reflecting back a dining table with a bunch of flowers on it or a beautiful pot
something
plant.
pretty to reflect.
We never want to see a mirror reflecting back a doorway
Wow.
because it's like when you walk in, if you open a door and
Slam
you're not
the door.
expecting to see
But
yourself.
I've got sliding
you
doors
take a
in
step
front
back.
of my big mirror, the big
Yeah,
massive
but big
glass.
glass.
No, it's like when you open
to the
someone's
balcony.
front door and you see a mirror and you're not expecting, you automatically take a step back. And the same thing,
Yes.
energy chi will bounce back off the mirror, back out the door.
You've got
Oh,
beautiful
wow.
chi
Yeah.
in your house, Di.
Oh, sweet.
But
Oh,
also-
it can't be that bad. You've
but
got a
isn't it-
young Leo on
In a-
on
Oh my God! You're so funny.
She's
Have
got
you
hot
dated a
energy.
Leo or
Oh, I
Leo?
have dated a Leo once, and my younger son is also a Leo.
Oh.
They're delicious.
Wow. What star
Oh,
sign
I
are you?
love
I'm a
that word.
Taurus.
Oh, you're a bull.
Oh, see,
Property.
we're Earth.
Yeah, Earth.
See,
Wow.
property. A lot of Terrains
You married
work
a
for
Taurus,
us.
isn't it?
I
It's
did. I
real
was almost
estate
4
too.
decades
Yeah.
with a Terrain. Now I'm with a Leo.
You know what?
Yeah, we have
I
heaps more
married a
fun.
scorpion.
Leo's much more fun than a scorpion. Well, it's been a fun for a while too, but
I'm married. I am a scorpion's good. I've had many scorpions, and I've always. I know I know them more than nearly anyone. I've married one for 25 years, and I've dated a lot of scorpions. And
You've got a type.
Yeah, and they're good at some things, and
that's all right.
and consistent
So
in
what
others.
about someone that's listening right now because I do know a lot of people that do not understand the word energy. They think energy is that to light, the lights, to power the lights in my or the petrol in my car. I'm trying to
How do you understand it?
Yeah, like how do you put that into words?
Well, I suppose, even going to, everyone's got a favourite restaurant or a favourite cafe that you're happy to go to because you sit there and you're like, this feels good, I like it. Or you go to your favourite restaurant and you get the shitty seat with your seat facing the door and you don't want to be there because the energy is behind you. The door, you don't feel safe and secure there.
I
Does that
get
make
that.
sense?
I
You-
100%
Yeah.
get that.
Same thing with
isn't it?
desks,
You go to a restaurant, you
In
get
a restaurant,
by
in
the
an
door,
office?
In an office,
Yeah.
in real estate offices, everyone was in their little pig pens, and there was always whoever sat with their back closest to the door was always the person that was like the hot seat. They never lasted because you just couldn't sit and feel comfortable there.
How
the energy.
interesting is that?
And I think
Yeah.
coming back to your statement about restaurants, and we all know restaurants in various suburbs, wherever you've lived in the world, that whoever opens up there it ends up closing.
Yeah.
And the food's great, and you love the ambience, but it doesn't
why?
work.
Yeah.
So
It'll be something will be off. There'll be the front door could be bankruptcy, for example, or if it's the major oven or the hot plates are in bankruptcy because we're activating that all the time. So I work with a lot of restaurants and we map out to make sure we've got the things in the right spot.
And you know what's just to go back to your thing for the listeners going, what is energy, and the way you explain that too. So it's also, I guess, is the feeling of it. So you go to a restaurant and you just go, oh, this is, let's go, you go, nah, I don't want to be in here.
Yeah,
You
that's
go
right.
out.
You go
Or
out.
you go
Yes.
to one, you go, oh, wow, the vibe is
Yeah,
so good.
yeah,
You don't
be
even,
there.
you're the last to leave.
That's
because
right.
you
And it's
kinda
not
love
even
it.
the people, it's the
So
feeling,
it's sort
as you
of a
said.
feeling of with energy,
Yeah.
and it's just like, you were saying at the
So
start too.
break that down even more. If someone's still listening going, energy's feeling, well, what's the feeling I'm getting?
Well,
You just feel it, trust your gut. And if you can't trust your gut,
There you go. Come
probably
back,
need
trust your gut. Now,
Yeah.
now break that down. What does that mean?
Well, I don't know. I always
What
trust.
is trust your gut?
But you get that feeling in your tummy like,
Okay.
this is bad news.
So
or,
you get a
this
feeling
feels right.
in your tummy,
Yeah,
and it doesn't feel right.
that's right.
So so start there.
Yes.
Acknowledge that.
Yes.
So there's something doesn't feel right wherever you are, whatever. This is
That's right.
the beginning of understanding energy.
I think so.
because I mean I believe that we're
all
spiritual
energy.
beings having a physical experience here. But so come back to the basics for those listening. Is feel it in your gut.
I think
it doesn't
so.
feel right.
That's right. It hasn't let me down yet.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's the start of the experiential moment with energy.
Yes.
It starts here, and it literally is in your gut.
Yes.
Right. So that's the core.
I think so, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we look at it as at a house, the heart of the home, if you square your house off, for example, and then find the centre of the house, that's the heart of your home. So ideally we want that to be in an open space. We don't want to be locked into a cupboard or in a powder room. We want it to be in an open space.
Wow.
If it is locked into something, we often find the occupants, one or all of them, can suffer from digestive issues.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
And what about spirits? Like someone once said to me,
Yeah.
because the guy that owned the house that I'm in now, did I ever tell you? He was a bit off his rocker. I won't say who or what
But
he
just,
was.
well, interesting
Yeah.
with Di's house too, because they built it. They got and built it there, and you had your first child there. Then they sold it
Oh,
for
you came back
years,
to
and
it.
then they came back to it from a psychic
Right.
told you to buy it, by the way.
Oh,
too.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
she said, whatever you do,
that's-
don't miss out.
yeah.
And it's been
And
the
she
biggest
did.
real estate deal
So
of my
just I
life.
had to give you this
Yeah.
that background
Yeah.
because it's
Ah,
not
so-
many people
And then we
do
say,
that.
and the person in between, the person that lived, it was a
Yes.
was-
So-
The one, yes, in between.
Yeah.
yeah, it was a bit cray. Oh, look, it could
I
be.
love you. I use that term. I
It
love
could be. It could be his astrology. It could just be.
It was about 20
if you look
years
at it,
too,
but
wasn't
you
it?
look
Yeah.
at it,
You had
it
it for
serves
20
you.
years.
It's working well for you. You love the house. Things have worked
Well,
out
I
well.
came back and my marriage broke up.
But not straight away.
No, a few years into coming
Yes.
back, our marriage broke up. So,
And it could be we look at.
which has often amazed me. And I thought, God, coming back to that house, I wonder.
I always think though, it was meant to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's
You've
fair
gone back
enough.
to that house
Everything
for a
that
reason.
happens is meant
But
to
I love
happen.
Nicola said the
You know?
tree in the house. I feel it's got a beautiful energy.
Yeah.
But
We can we could work it out what it is. We could soon
It's
work
just
out
so,
what it is.
everyone. It's so fascinating all this, and and then gardens are important, aren't they? And flowers are important. Tell us
Flowers
a
are
little
good.
bit about that.
do you mind if I just quickly
Oh, no.
jump back
Yes,
to
sure.
the spirit?
Of
So-
course,
Oh, yes,
sorry,
spirit,
no,
sorry, yeah.
spirit.
You know
yes.
what's on the tip of my tongue because it's the house. I did have a woman come in to clear the energy. She felt a man there.
Oh,
yeah,
right. Oh.
yeah. Sorry, I've just
Sorry, yes, yeah.
Because Nicola and I we love talking, and it frightened the hell out of me when she came in. She was some sort of clearer, whatever that is, like a
Yeah.
energy clearer.
Sure.
There you go. And she felt this man here. I was like so terrified.
Did he die in the house? Or
No, but he was very, very sick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say he was not
Not well.
Yes,
puppy.
yeah.
And crazy things happened, the neighbours told me. And she said, oh, no, his energy, he can't pass over,
He's not
she
ready to go.
said. So she was doing all this work to help him to pass over. And it really frightened me. So my question to you is about spirits and Feng Shui.
Sure.
And with you, does that all connect? Like,
Look, I think I live in a house that was built in 1890. I'm sure someone has, passed away in the house, and there's been tragedy, and there's been, I worked on a house in Williamstown once, and they were renovating it, and they found a baby's bones under the bathroom, but the baby would have been stillborn. Who knows? There's so many things that,
Back
So
in
I
the
think
day.
a lot of houses, unless you're going to go and build a brand new house, but even then, what's happened in the land under it, who knows? So I think everything holds energy. This is why I have never bought antique jewellery, because I think how did it get there?
Gabriella says
that's
the same
fascinating.
That was someone's.
But you'll borrow
That was
a
someone's
mother's.
grandmother's. Yeah, that's right. That was someone's grandmother's engagement ring, and someone gave it. And then how's it? Grandma's engagement ring ended up in this shop. So I think everything holds energy, and I don't have an issue with spirits as such. I don't. I think they're everywhere, unless they're giving you some sort of cause for grief. But I don't. If someone said to me there was a man in the house, I'd say, great, I sleep well, my kids are healthy, my husband is healthy, we live an abundant life. Good luck to him.
How do you feel? Back to that, Di, how do you? Because we were saying it's all about the gut and how you feel.
It
But how do you-
terrified me.
But how
Yeah,
do
but
you
was it-
feel living in your house?
I
now,
feel great. I'm happy,
See,
very happy.
I think probably that healer's probably just
Yeah.
giving you the wrong advice, possibly, because I think a lot of us have these energies around us, and unless it's upsetting you, it's
And you've got
life.
the best
It
energy in your
terrified
house.
me when she told me that. Oh, there's definitely a spirit man here. I was like, Jesus, I was freaked.
Yes,
I didn't sleep for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then what does the Dalai Lama say? If the neighbours are causing you grief, just enjoy life.
Yeah.
That's the best way to get
That's
back
right.
to. Just enjoy life. Have the best,
gotta
live the
make the
best
most of
life
it.
you can be. Live the best life you can
That's
have.
our mantra.
And that's that basically in my home. I don't know, Nicola. I love to entertain. I love people.
She gets
I love,
the shakers out.
Yeah.
The party.
Have
isn't it?
music, everything.
Well, maybe he just likes to.
vibe.
Maybe he likes to live in the party house.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did, for some reason, that dissipated that fear of that spirit being there.
Yeah.
And she never did tell me whether he'd moved on. I never got it back, actually. She had done the work and helped him move on.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a bit like the Feng Shui stuff. You know, I
Yeah.
had a number of clients that have called me and said, I had someone come and do the Feng Shui, and then I said, can you send me through what they've done? And it's not Feng Shui, it's rubbish.
No.
You know, and I'm not sure that's what's happened with
No,
you.
she
or-
wasn't Feng Shui.
No, she was like an energy. But
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
it's sort of like, I don't know, it's how do you know?
Yeah.
You know, how do you know? Whereas I've got clients that haven't been able to fall pregnant that are now pregnant. You know, I've had some really great successes with people with businesses that were ready to shut the doors that are now thriving.
What are some tips on that? Just for sort of people, can you change things around in the house that you've got? So sort of like, we've all got our own homes at the moment. We're not going to buy and sell.
No,
But
I think-
what can we do within the house? So we're renting a place to make
Sure.
it feel good.
I think, you know, open the windows, open the doors. You guys live in Sydney, so it's great. You get the energy in,
Yeah.
get,
Yeah.
you know, and
That's
Let the
great.
sun in.
let the sun in.
I
And,
always
and,
have my doors
You know,
and
the
windows
best smell in the house is fresh air, not
Yep.
some fragrance, you know, not some candle that, like Country Road. I can't go into Country Road anymore because that's spray.
Wow.
Just like, oh.
Yeah.
So I think just, you know, beautiful fresh air is great. Windows open, doors. Put your shoes in the wardrobe or don't walk them in the house. Have a bucket or something behind the door you put your shoes in.
I think that's imperative.
Just be, you know,
And maybe
clean,
hide
tidy.
the bucket sometimes,
Hide
don't
the
you
bucket.
think?
Yeah,
'Cause
100%.
when you see
Yeah.
all the shoes lined
I
up,
agree.
I just
It's
don't like
horrible.
that.
No, I don't like it either.
But if you're entertaining,
Yeah.
you just have to
I
the
agree.
side. I think have a little
I leave
thing.
it when I'm entertaining them in front only because they go, oh, I've got to take my shoes off.
Yeah.
I used to have a sign, but I think that was a bit much.
No,
Yeah, it's a bit
I love
bossy.
pets. I've got 3 dogs and a cat. Bossy. Capricorn.
Bossy.
But it is.
I know.
Yeah, she wants me
I know.
to take
Okay,
my
I think
shoes off.
animal energy is
It's great.
is
It's
just so
fantastic.
beautiful.
As long as you-
So tell me about animal energy.
Well, their energy. So when we're not home, they're running around creating energy and chi in the house. You just got to make sure that your, kitty litter is looking great, and so is the poo patrol in the garden. And happy days. You know, they're great.
I have birds that fly in.
Beautiful.
And then they fly
They're
away.
fantastic.
That's my sort of
But
animal.
it gives you such beautiful. When you see them, they make you happy.
Yeah,
They do.
You know?
Oh
and
my
it's a living
God.
thing, and they
Yes.
do make you
Yeah.
happy.
When the Leo turns up, they all turn up, all the birds.
Really?
Yeah.
And they, and the kookaburras sing, and then the whole thing. And then you're saying like then with flowers and with trees and things like that. Because I heard you sort of saying with flowers that they, if you can't do too much, but we can all buy flowers or pick flowers, and it's beautiful
Yes,
energy
it
as
is,
well.
and it's like you're filling up your cup. You're looking after your house. You're like, I love your house. This is this
Oh,
is nice.
I love that.
I think that's a really beautiful thing. You're filling up your own
nurturing.
cup,
Yeah.
and we're always
Yeah.
about that.
That's
Put
right.
your oxygen mask on.
Are those
first.
orchids? What do they call it? I was going to say philanthropist. The what's
I don't know.
the white orchids?
Oh, you know
anyway.
the ones you mean. I can't say
Yeah,
either.
those.
I was thinking Singapore orchids.
They're Singapore. Yeah, the white big white ones. Yeah.
They're beautiful.
But they're just constantly blooming in my house all the time.
Fantastic.
For 6 months. That is, and under the flood at the back. That's like a little, I put them out there, they regenerate and they come back in. So I don't know if that's energy.
Well, it's beautiful.
Because some house I've lived, just flowers just go, ugh.
I would think it is. Yes.
Wow.
And so,
Yeah.
what other things of say you sort of said with you're saying with bringing love in, but saying with other ones with houses when they are. It's like it's that house where there's always a divorce, or there's a house where there's
That's
always
how I got into
true.
Feng Shui because
Yes. So
my
tell us
background
about
with real
that.
estate is.
What about in the house
Yeah.
also when
Yeah.
someone's been murdered or
Yeah.
dead?
So tell us about that.
So I kept seeing history repeat itself in houses. That's why I went and left real estate to go and study Feng Shui, which I think back now, what was I doing? But anyway, it's all worked out for the best. But so I'd sell for a couple who had separated. The couple who bought it would call me 2 years later, Kelly, we're getting divorced. Can you come and sell the house? Or Kelly, can you come and sell the house before the bank takes over? Or health issues, people with cancer, leukemia. Played out in a couple of houses multiple times. So I thought there's got to be something to this. Wow. Why does this keep playing out? And there is something to it. History does repeat itself.
And what about the 20-year cycle?
Yeah, the 20-year cycle, that's right.
To wait 20 years.
Gotta wait
Sometimes
20
a lot of marriages end at 20 years
yes,
too.
but I don't know whether you're you can think of anyone, but there could be someone in your life that has had, has just sort of been on a bit of a balancing act for the last 20 years. And then last year, energy's changed. Things have got better for them or things have got worse for them.
Yeah.
You know, it's that sort of thing. It's shifted, it's changed. So it's really interesting.
So what can you do about it? You know,
well, again, we just look and say, okay, so the bankruptcy is always a bankruptcy. It's always a shitty number. It is what it is.
And you're living with that now.
And I have no intentions.
Happy and well, and you're
100%, because I knew
I'm coming through the window.
I knew
that's right.
I'm sorry, that's right. But I'm aware of it. So knowledge is power. So if you know you've got this shitty energy, or you know your master bedroom is sex scandal, like my bedroom is.
Woohoo!
Yeah, go back.
So my husband's,
cowgirl.
that's right. As long as my husband's not writing anything. But so my husband's come a long way with me this weekend to Sydney. So I'm filling up our marriage cup. Like I know this is
beautiful man.
So,
we just met him outside.
Gorgeous. We love an Irish accent.
Yes. So you just got to, if you know what you've got to be careful of or what could pop up, you try and fix it before it happens. You know, so we make sure we have date nights. We make sure we go away. We make sure our 5 and 7-year-old don't destroy our marriage. Those sort of things.
You know what? They're so good. Any more, Kelly, tips because you really give life wisdom.
Oh, thanks. I don't know. There's so many tips.
House tips. Feng
so clutter, anything
tips.
that's broken, or you got any broken crockery or any of that sort of stuff,
Wow.
get rid of it.
Things?
Chip things,
Really?
get rid of it. Yes. If
I'm
you've
writing
got
a bit of this.
If you've got a teapot that you got given for you as a wedding gift from your auntie that you can't stand, give it away.
Oh,
Make sure
wow.
whatever you have in your home you love. Your artwork is so, we touched on it, but your artwork, all artwork, not just what's behind your bed, but you want to look at it and really love it. It should be something that you want to manifest or you want to invite into your life. Or you look at it and think, I really enjoyed that trip to, Tahiti or whatever it may be.
Maybe.
Photos as well, yeah. So something that you look at it and brings you joy, or it gives you that feeling in your tummy that you're like, yeah, I remember that.
And what about candles and books and music?
So that's just
lighting candles.
Whatever makes you happy. So whatever increases the positive chi in your house, because it's your house. So sometimes I go to people's houses and they've got this abstract art and I'm like, ooh, that's a bit too intense for me, but they love it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's what suits you.
I get that. It's a personal
it's
thing.
your home.
Yeah.
Some people only
And if
wear
you love
black.
it.
Yes.
And art's so personal, isn't it?
It is,
and
yeah.
bright colours, it's
It is.
Yeah, that is fascinating.
It's really
It's just
interesting.
it's just so interesting. There's so much to. And how do
Blow
people
my mind.
get hold of you and know about
either Kelly McCloskey or the Feng Shui girl. So they're all there on socials.
And you've got a great Instagram.
Yeah,
you've got a
I was gonna
website.
say, you can learn a bit from the Instagram
yeah.
too,
I'm
which I
hopefully
love.
I'm just going to start doing an online course shortly too, which we can just download and watch
Brilliant.
it.
so
That's
fascinating.
Yeah, which is good
The
because
clutter
like,
intrigues me.
I think
The
to me
clutter
that makes sense.
But
like
you think that's
attaching
like
the negative energy.
When you look at older people, they often have very cluttered.
Yes.
Because it's very yin. It's so much stuff. There's they don't let the sun in. It's dark. That sort of thing. So we don't want that. But if you're looking to put your favourite granny into a home, as in you're moving them into an apartment or what have you, find the one that's near the primary school that's got the most natural light because it's yang. They hear the kids. It gives them energy.
Really?
Yes.
We've got a girlfriend that always buys near schools, don't we?
It would drive me absolutely nuts.
Like it's her third house near
Yeah,
school.
but she likes obviously the yang from the school.
The
Whereas
yang energy.
I don't want to hear balls. I've had enough. But it's
You
great
don't want
for
to hear
old,
what?
balls
Older
bouncing.
people.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was thinking, God, she's the sex.
You know what? I really that makes sense to me, and I really love that.
Balls.
And I think for everything, it's like like we're saying, we quote different people, like Sue Bell, we love her, and she's saying how life is chapters too. But I guess it is, and so different
She's
stages.
had thousands. She's incredible.
And it just makes it interesting. But we all live that way, so we know what works for us now. We're different people at every
100%.
stage.
Yes.
So you know what
And
you
a
want
house
now,
will attract
and a
that
house will
energy.
be like that.
Yeah.
And what about changing houses? Some people who will not. They're married to that house and will not
Yes.
change.
Well, they're just
Yes.
stagnant maybe in their energy. That's just who they are. They're happy with what it is. But things change because it changes every 20 years,
Yes.
the cycle. So,
How do you find out when it starts, the cycle?
So it started last year.
Now, for everybody started last
everybody,
year.
yeah.
So was that in the year of the Chinese year?
It's 2024 to 2044. But then we also look at, so it's now the year of the wood snake. This is why we're seeing lots of fires, lots of aircraft accidents, lots of
Shedding?
transformation, relationships breaking up, people,
new beginnings.
New beginnings, all of that sort of stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
People getting rid of bad habits, all those sort of things.
The world.
The world.
You
Well, the
look at
last
the world
time
right
this-
now.
this
David
happened
said the
was-
world revolution, that word,
Well, yeah.
and we could
He's
sing it in
spot
front
on.
of playing out. Yeah, playing out.
So-
The last time it was a
even
wood
the-
snake, the Vietnam War started.
Really?
So it's like that. It's a It's a wood energy, so it's like a candle flickering. So it's not full. Next year is the full flame. This year is the candle.
Buckle in, guys.
So it's going to get it'll be more intense.
More
next
intense
year.
next year.
Remember Jordana Levine said, she's an astrology sort of saying about the future and what she was even sort of predicting for stuff too, which was like basically saying, buckle up,
in.
guys.
Yeah.
I don't like snakes anyway.
But
I can't stand, let alone
what's
a wood
next
snake.
year's
What's a
one?
wood
What's
snake?
a-
I don't know. I haven't
We'll have
looked
to
at it
look
yet,
that
but I'll
one
have a look
up.
at it,
But
yeah.
what year were you born in?
Interesting.
I'm a monkey.
A monkey, cheeky
Oh,
monkey.
I
That's
love monkeys. I was
cute.
married to a monkey.
What
Or
are you,
my
Dani?
my first husband was a
Yes, yeah.
monkey. And my sister's a monkey. And I'm a rooster, and monkeys protect
Rooster.
roosters.
Yes, they're friends.
Which is so
Yeah.
random. Yeah.
I'm a dragon.
Oh, the
which
dragon's
is-
good.
Yeah, dragon's
Yeah.
good. Double
Oh.
Aries dragon.
What was it?
Watch
Game
out.
of
Watch
Thrones.
out, world.
She was gorgeous. That looked
I'm
after
just
the dragons.
revving up.
Yeah, she was great, wasn't she,
Revving
the
up.
dragon lady?
What's that?
That she was nice, the dragon lady.
Oh,
in the Game of
amazing.
Thrones, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I can't even say her name. But
This
Yeah.
has just been incredible. We
No,
could just talk to
I've
you
actually
forever
made,
and
since
ever
you've been
and
talking,
ever.
I've made so many notes
Thank
for my
you.
house. But I do find, because Nicola and I were both listening to Dave at the meeting that night, when ironically, here you are in front of me, mentioned to him about the woman.
I see it all the time.
The single women on in these paintings.
I
Yeah,
said
that's
all the
blowing
time.
job.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get called in. Can you help me find a partner? And you go in, there's all these nude single women on their own. And I get it. That they're
These
quite
women
beautiful.
weren't nude, by the way. They're just
No,
faces.
but just like
Yeah, yeah.
they do the nude black and white drawings, and they've got
Yes.
them all through their house.
And you know what? It's so good to know
Right.
because it's also.
And what do
you
you
know-
say to them?
Well, so we've got to take these down because this is what you're manifesting. You on your own.
Yeah.
This is it.
And you know, and for
Oh
some
my
people,
God,
they choose to
this
be
is
on their own,
incredible.
and they
100%.
prefer to be on their own.
I
and-
agree.
and
I get
run-
it.
And
I
so for
agree.
listeners
Yeah.
too, and run
Yeah.
happily on their own. And I think
100%.
sometimes the older you get,
Yeah.
you prefer it.
Yes.
than,
Yeah.
than in
Whatever
sort of something.
floats your
100%.
boat,
So
as
it's
you
kind
say.
of nice, but it's like an awareness thing. And when at the stage you want to be on your own, put up those single things
Yeah.
of women doing that or whatever.
Yes.
You know?
Nicola,
It's
what's
a nice
going to be
thing
your stick figure you're going to draw behind your bed head?
Oh, you have a really good think about
I'm
it.
going to have time to think about
Because
it.
I'm
Exactly.
going to
You're
do
gonna have time to-
100%. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
I think you sort of got to,
I'm excited.
you've got to
Sam's going to.
Yeah.
I
Well,
know.
I'm just, as I said, I've just broke up. So I like to sort of take some time for myself, and then I,
But
do
do that. Do you
When I'm
going,
ready, I will.
"Wee."
Yeah.
Do you with a
Yeah.
flower or something
Something.
beautiful.
I'll
I'm
let
going to
you
do
know.
something like that.
Just
I'll
been
let
fun.
you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I'm going to do
Yeah.
something beautiful
Yeah,
like
exactly.
sunshine and
how do you, and bring in the money.
And-
So the money one, I
Things
get asked
happy.
all the time, how do I bring in
And
money?
podcasts.
Or can I put my vision board behind my bed? And I think the vision board's just too strong.
I was
think
going to
there's
say
too many
that.
things happening.
My first thought. Too
So
strong.
I think pick one thing that you really want. So,
Yeah.
the bags of cash. I think, well, what would you buy if you had the bags of cash? So
Yeah.
for me, it was a beach house,
Right.
which worked out. So I think really, it's got to be. You've got to have that gut feeling again of
Yeah.
what it would feel like if you had that.
Yes.
That's
you
a
know.
true manifesting.
I was just
Yes.
going to say that.
Isn't it?
Classic.
And
Yeah.
whereas if you
Yeah.
put up a picture of a bag of cash, you're like, whatever, I'll just, So
Yes.
when you buy the Tats Lotto ticket, you
Intentional.
don't really
Yes.
intend on winning Tats Lotto. It's like a bit of fun.
We're going to have to wind up, I'm
Yeah.
afraid. I actually could talk to you all day, Kelly. I
Thanks,
mean it,
Di.
because I'd love to go down the real estate road with you because there's so much juice in
Yeah.
that. Nick, do you want to ask the first question?
Oh, yeah, questions.
What advice would you give your 20-year-old self? Just throwing in some randoms
I didn't
for
know about
you.
this one.
We like to do that.
Look, it's going to all work out.
Yes.
Don't really worry about what anyone else thinks. Just do what feels right for you.
Oh, bingo! I love that.
Yeah,
That's
it's very
so
positive.
good.
If you had the chance of meeting someone at Over the Back Fence,
Oh, yeah.
who would that be and why?
I thought about this one. It was a really tricky one, so I thought I could try and be really smart. But I thought, no, if I had someone over the back fence, it'd be someone that I really would like just to, get on the couple of bottles of champagne with and have a good bit of laugh. And I would go with Princess Diana because I think she'd be really interesting. We could get the tarot cards
You look
out.
very regal.
You're very pretty.
I'd
like,
find
yeah.
out whether Harry really is Charles's son. All these sort of things that you'd always want to know, and you'd try and help her a little bit because obviously she was in a bit of a pickle with her life. So, but I think she was probably a really nice person and just.
I love
bless
that.
her.
We've
The
never
wrong
had
choice.
anyone say that.
No,
and
we'd be
tell you
there
what,
for her.
And
We love
absolutely,
her.
I've always been a fan of hers.
Yeah.
People wearing the white frilly shirt like hers and dressed like
Yeah,
Diana
isn't
in the
that
80s.
funny?
Yeah.
I think she probably just needed a really good girlfriend, and things probably were
Yeah.
different. Would have been different.
And
for
I
her.
reckon she'd have a few bottles of
Oh, God, she'd be
the
so much
bubbles and
fun.
stuff too.
Yeah.
I love
Bless
that. more
you.
And I
than-
also thought if wherever she was living would be in a nice suburb, a nice house. So
She's
that would also
classy.
be good. I'd have a nice house if
You
I was
could
sharing the
check
back fence.
Feng Shui
Yeah.
there.
Get the
Obviously
real,
didn't
get the
quite
real,
work
get
for
the real
her.
gossip. Okay, we've got lucky last
Yeah,
one
lucky
for you,
last.
Kelly. Is
Yep.
what makes you happy?
What makes me happy is I really enjoy travelling in really out there places. Not well, which is, if you look at me, you wouldn't think, but the dirty roads of Africa or India or Alaska. I love that sort of stuff. I always say to my husband, that's the only stars I'll ever sleep under unless they're 5. You've got to be out in the middle of nowhere. But I love
5-star or
that sort of stuff. I'll say not so 5-star because we're in the middle of nowhere. But I've been to Africa 5 or 6 times. I love India. I love Alaska. All those sort of interesting places where you learn because the people are so lovely there. And I feel like it's the energy. And I think sometimes we just, you go and stay at these beautiful hotels and you sort of go, well, that was lovely, but what did I actually get from it?
Could be anywhere in the world. It's true.
What did I, it was great, but
true.
what did I...
It's like the shops that are manufactured all around the world. You go shopping, it could be
it could be anything.
Shops.
I know, it's the same shop.
Those little arty different ones there. Well, you have blown us away. There's so much more. We've only sort of
honestly, I've made so many notes
on this.
from this.
It's incredible. So thank you
really
so much for coming on. Really,
thanks so much. Thanks, ladies.
It's just been incredible. So everyone, thank you for listening. Don't forget we're on YouTube, so subscribe as well.
Yeah,
which is really good. So we
love
can watch
YouTube.
this. Which is good. And Didi, and so don't forget to rate and review. Didi does her own ratings. And so we've got Kelly.
You're putting me on the
See, I know.
Really? How many are the avenues in the house, like from bankruptcy?
9.
Okay, 9 out of 5.
9 times 5.
It's 5 out of 5, but you're getting 9 out of 5.
Thanks so much.
So, guys, when you go to rate, just push a few more in.
I think so. Well, thank you for listening. We're back in your ears next week.
We can't wait. Ciao, guys.
Bye-bye. Wow.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks,
that
ladies.
was so much fun.
Thank you.
Oh, my God.
It was great.
I'm sure it's